Hello everyone, welcome to Melissa's Musings. I am Melissa Steele, real estate agent extraordinaire, and host of Melissa's Musings. And today has been, really the last 48 hours have been one of some massive learning and massive shifting for me. And I'm actually going to come to you guys asking for support because I could really utilize and I would love to have your support in knowing how I should be acting. So I'm going to summarize what's going on for you guys because I have one particular situation that's happening with a client, and I have been really struggling with this situation, to be honest, really struggling. And I'm going to outline the story, and then I am going to share with you what's been coming up for me, and then I'm going to ask for your advice. So for those of you who are just tuning in, for those of you who are watching on the replay, please watch because I would love your feedback, and this is a rare opportunity where I'm asking for support. I am completely torn, and I don't very often get emotionally attached to transactions or to things happening in our business, but this one is just killing me, and I'm super attached to it, and what I've recognized today, I think, is that I'm super hurt by it. So I'm going to share what's coming up. I'm going to share the whole thing. So thank you guys for joining in. I see a bunch of you joining, and I'm super stoked because it's Friday night, and I was like, nobody's going to join in. But listen to my ego conversation. Look at all you guys joining in. I see Noon here, Roxanne, Cassidy, Alex, Dustin, my peeps. Thank you guys for joining in. So if this looks like a face that has cried today, it's because I have, and that's okay. But basically, this is what has happened. So John and I got an amazing listing just a couple weeks ago. It launched the first week of the year. The sellers are out of state. They are in New York, and they have been a pleasure to work with. Honestly, I was really excited to be connected with them, so excited to help solve their problem, because what ended up happening is the sellers, the home is in a trust. So this property is in Linda Vista, great area. The owner, unfortunately, was a hoarder, had some medical issues, had severe mold inside the house, and he passed away inside the home. So this home has now been a part of the trust. There's only one living trustee on the trust, and he is quite old. So the person I have been communicating with is his nephew in New York and his nephew's wife. So we launched the property, and I knew that these clients were traveling after launching the property, and I communicated with them, made sure that they could communicate on their travels, and told them that it would be very minimal communication. And we launched the property. Everything goes well. We hold an open house, all this stuff. We end up negotiating the crap out of this house, rocking it. We end up with 25 offers on the table. We verbally are negotiating. John and I work a lot with investors, so we know how to negotiate on these properties. We're negotiating non-contingencies, which means their deposits on the line the day that they submit it. We're negotiating shortened timelines. Basically, we're rocking it for our sellers, and I am so excited for them because they've hired me to do this job, and I'm crushing it. I'm doing the best job that I can possibly do. I'm proud of my work, and I'm stoked. We end up with 25 offers. The highest on the table were $30,000 to $40,000 over our asking price, all with exceptional terms. And I asked the clients to meet with me on their travels. They sent me a time that worked. I told them I had a meeting during that time, but I would happily reschedule because the offers were my priority. We were dealing with a shortened timeline. That meeting comes and that meeting goes. They don't call me, so they blow off my meeting. One thing that you guys will know about me is I think that you can say all the things that you want about me. My self-confidence is up to here. If you abuse my time, I take a lot of personal offense because I don't have a lot of time. Time is my only resource in life that is scarce, that has a limitation on it. I have abundance in everything, and I have abundance in time as well, but time is my only limitation. So if somebody abuses my time, I personally take offense. So this client, that meeting comes and that meeting goes. I am upset. But I don't show the client that because they've hired me to do my job, and I am committed to doing a great job. So what I do instead, they've missed the meeting, I've rescheduled my appointment, it is what it is. It's out of my control. Instead of getting upset, I summarize everything that I was going to discuss with them on the phone in great detail. I produce a beautiful spreadsheet outlining all 25 offers, outlining every single term. I describe what every single term means. Took several hours to do this for the client. Email it over to them, no response. A day passes. Now all of our offers are facing expiration. And I have communicated with all of them that they should expect to hear by now because I had that meeting. So now my reputation is reflecting poorly because I'm communicating with 25 investors and miscommunicating. The information that the seller is giving me is causing me to miscommunicate. So therefore, I summarize all this and I email it out to them. I say, I know that you're traveling. I can so appreciate that. I understand that you missed my meeting. No big deal. But here are the offers. I suggest responding to these top 2, and I outline the terms that I would suggest responding with, and I sent the counters over to them through DocuSign. So in my perspective, I tried to create what was easiest for them. Like easy peasy. All they had to do is read the email and either agree and say yes and sign the counters, or disagree and say, no, Melissa, we'd prefer to respond this way, and I would resend them the counters. 2 days go by. I follow up, and they say, we're on vacation. We're not going to deal with this until we get home, which is 5 days from now. Deep breaths, Melissa. So I was like, okay, that puts me in a really tricky position. At 5 days from now, every offer I have on the table is now going to be expired. I get to keep 25 offers at play as I wait for my sellers. I keep all 25 offers at play. They arrive home from vacation. I email them asking when I can get a meeting on the calendar. They arrive home on a Saturday. I don't get a response from them until Monday. So now I've told all the investors for 5 days that they're arriving home on Saturday, and now it's Monday and I still have not heard from these sellers. I'm so frustrated. Monday morning comes along. It's first on my to-do list to call the sellers. I have his work number. I plan on calling him as soon as he's in the office. The first thing on Monday morning that I get in my inbox is, I can't speak until Wednesday. What time Wednesday works for you? And I said, I am available anytime. I literally will wake up at 5 in the morning, which is 8 o'clock on your time, before yoga. If that works, tomorrow morning. Like, this is really urgent. I've been doing the best job I can, but I'm not given the tools that I'm needed right now in order to succeed and to get you the best offer. I don't get a response on that email. We align on, because I said Wednesday morning at this time works, let's schedule that in, but I would really appreciate if you could please prioritize calling me anytime between now and then, and I will do my best to answer, to chat with you for 10 minutes. No call until Wednesday morning. We connect on Wednesday morning. I go through the offers. This is now 10 days after my initial offer review email that I sent them. Thankfully, most of the offers are at play. I did lose a couple because investors invest their money, and some of them had already invested their money in other deals. So, met the sellers this past Wednesday, communicated with them that we were going to get a meeting on the calendar Thursday afternoon. Have it on the calendar with them before I hang up the phone, because I've learned from my mistakes, right? Melissa gets to set the meeting with them before they even hang up the phone so that there's no miscommunication. And I'm really upfront with them that when we sent over these 2 counters to the other side, I'm going to need their immediate turnaround on signatures from the seller, and we were putting a really tight expiry on these counters from the buyer, which means that we just took 10 days to respond to these buyers, and now we're asking them for a response in less than 24. Does that seem fair to you? Not really, but I'm trying to do best by my sellers, so that's what I advise them to do. But I encourage them, if we were going to put a 3 p.m. Thursday time period on it, that we'd have to meet Thursday afternoon to then get them another immediate response and open escrow first thing Friday morning. We were working with 24-hour timelines today. Yesterday's meeting was scheduled for 4 p.m. First thing in the morning when I wake up, I have an email asking me to reschedule to 6:30 p.m. PST, my time. Of course, this is my highest priority. You are my highest priority as my seller. I reschedule my appointments. John handles a listing appointment that we have so that we can divide and conquer and take care of both clients so they're well taken care of. 6:30 comes. Do you want to know what happens at 6:30, you guys? Guess. 6:30 goes. Now Melissa is livid. I am losing my shit because now I feel in my body I'm hot, I'm flushed, I literally feel angry, and I start crying angry tears. There's literally nothing that I can do. It's totally out of my control, and I am doing absolutely everything that I possibly can to work for my seller to the hardest and to the best of my ability, yet they're not giving me the tools that I need to succeed. So, I email them the documentation that they need signed. I say, hey guys, I just tried calling all your cell phones. I left you voicemails. I just texted you. I haven't gotten any response and you didn't cancel our meeting tonight at 6:30. The documents are in your inbox for signatures. Please sign them and call me as soon as you can. This morning upon waking up, the documents are signed in my inbox, but I haven't gotten a phone call. I haven't gotten a text message, and I have gotten no acknowledgement around our missed meeting. I send the counter and the signed documents over to escrow. I open escrow, and now this is what's putting me in a tricky position because I wanted to open escrow before 5 p.m. on Thursday, and I had given the buyer 24 hours to perform in our counter, which, in taking great care of my seller, should have brought us to 5 p.m. tonight when we would have either had a deposit in escrow and a contingency release, which means that deposit is locked, and we would know if that offer was sticking, or I was going to issue a notice to perform tonight, and we would move on to the next offer tomorrow morning. But because we opened escrow this morning, what is now happening is the buyer has been doing due diligence all day. They have not yet wired their deposit, and they're dragging their feet until Monday because now tomorrow escrow will not be able to receive a deposit even if it's been sent, so I don't know. And ultimately, that's the story. So what's been coming up for me at first, what I thought was anger, frustration, what was coming up for me in my body was like a complete it was so angry. Like the feelings that I thought I had were so angry. And then today when I woke up and there was no acknowledgement around the missed meeting and it happened for a second time, I got to yoga and I was in yoga and I literally got through the entire yoga class, and every time she said, set the intention, I was like, I intend to let this go. Like I really want to let this go. Like this, I want nothing more than for me to be like, you know what? It's out of my control and I totally let it go. And what came up for me during yoga as we got into Savasana, which is like my favorite part. You guys all know that's the best part of yoga. It's like after you've busted ass for an hour, you finally get to rest and it's like so glorious. But and she said, start by letting it go in your little toes. And let it go in your feet, and let it go in your hamstrings, and let it go. And as she went through this, I literally just started crying. So I'm on my mat, I'm savasanaing, and I'm like literally hoping, my ego conversation is like, please, Jesus, let everybody else have their eyes closed so nobody sees I'm crying in yoga, right? And what's coming up for me is that I get to let it go, that I get to totally let it go. It's out of my control. And while I did the absolute best that I can for the seller, if the buyer comes back to me on Monday with $80,000 of repairs that they've found, ultimately that's on the seller. Like I've been doing the best job that I can do. But it wasn't until I was reading the book Brené Brown, Rising Strong, while I was eating lunch, that I recognized that I'm not angry, I'm actually hurt. So she recognized the difference for herself when anger was coming up for her because she wanted to be vindictive. She wanted to if she was hurt, it would come up as anger, and she would often want there to be a repercussion for that person. She'd want she'd want to get them. And so badly, I just want to say something to the seller. I talked to them earlier on the phone because they made a mistake on a piece of paperwork. It was a 2-minute conversation. They didn't mention the missed phone call. They didn't mention the missed meeting. They didn't mention the fact that they had a total disregard for my time. And I hung up the phone, and all I could do was feel more frustration, even though I recognized that I'm no longer angry. I'm really hurt because there's no cognizance or care for my time. But in communicating and learning that, I was asking John for his feedback, and he was like, you can't say anything because that's an ego conversation. If you want to say something, that's your ego talking. So I'm really curious. I would love to know your thoughts. Now you guys know the whole story. You know what's coming up for me. You understand my frustration. Ultimately, I want to do the best job that I possibly can because the sellers hired me to do the best job that I possibly can. But I feel like they're putting me in a difficult position that's not allowing me to do the best job that I can. So I'm feeling friction inside myself. I'm feeling frustration. I'm feeling disconnection with what I stand true for and what I stand for in my business. Typically, I have sellers who are like, yes, this is brilliant. Let's do it. Yes, this time on the phone has been really productive. Let's do it. Yes, yes, yes. These strategies are amazing. What you're doing is working. You're getting us $40,000 over asking price and all these different things. And right now I'm not feeling that way. I'm feeling as though I failed, even though I know I haven't. I feel like this buyer is about to come back to us and put us in a really tricky position as a seller, potentially giving us new bids or new work that we didn't know about that now we're going to have to disclose to all the other buyers. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. So, I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are. I'm curious if you have any advice for Melissa of Melissa's Musings, because I'm struggling today, and I'm really having a difficult time with it. And like, I just don't really know what's next. I just keep meditating on it. I keep letting it go. I keep feeling it come up in my body when I communicate with them, but I don't feel as though I want to say anything. So yeah, I'm a little torn. So that's what's coming up for me. I recognize that my anger was actually hurt. I feel like I'm not angry. I could really give two craps. But what I feel like is coming up for me is I'm hurt. I'm hurt that there is no like cognizance of my time. I'm hurt that there was no communication, just respectfully, even a text or a quick email like, hey Mel, so sorry, something came up, we can't do it. And really why I would have really appreciated that is because the story that I'm creating for myself. I don't know what their reasoning was behind missing our 2 meetings, whether it was an oversight or whether it was intentional. But all I know is that the story that I'm creating for myself is that I'm not a priority. And that's that no matter how hard I'm working to produce the results that you want, I'm not feeling like a priority. So there's disconnection there. So let's see what you guys are saying here. Noon. I can't say what I want on this live feed. Call me immediately after. Okay, we'll talk. Alex, you've done the absolute best you can, and if it falls through on Monday, I think you need to share your frustration with them and that you can't continue to move forward together without a solution to the communication. I was thinking that too. Up till this point, they've refused to give me their cell phone numbers, and I think that that's something that gets to be shared with me and communicated with me so that we can have open communication. So I think that's really smart, Alex, and I agree. Cassidy, really good suggestion too. Sorry guys, I was like silently reading. These are all such good ideas. So Cassidy said if the sale falls through this round of offers, you should consider asking if they would like to pull the house off the market until they can commit to the process. That's a great solution too, Cassidy, because honestly, that was one of the things I was really fearful about on their travels. Like, I knew they were traveling. I obviously didn't want to bother them, and that's why I was so cognizant of their time and their travels prior to listing the home. I wanted to make sure that they wanted to deal with it on vacation. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise, we would have just listed it now, you know, to be launching in February. There's no rush on my end. So I like that solution too, potentially withdrawing until they're ready to commit to the process. Dustin, I love it. Noon, some people are inconsiderate. I think, you know, like I just feel like they may not even realize the lack of communication, how it's affecting me. Alex said, hey, is there something going on that I'm not aware of that might be affecting our communication and scheduled times to get what you want? Love that questioning. Open-ended questions. That's really powerful. Dustin, if they can't respect the amount of work you're putting in your time, then it's time to have a conversation with them regarding pulling the listing until they're ready to fully commit. So thank you guys. I really appreciate your feedback. I think I was kind of sharing with John that as well, because when I got off the phone with the buyer's agent earlier, when he was sharing with me that they hadn't wired in their deposit, that they've been doing due diligence all day, that they've been finding major issues that they plan on discussing it with, I was like, well, crap, this is exactly what I was trying to prevent. And John was like, babe, you've literally done everything that you can. If this comes back to the sellers and we end up less than what we're at right now, you've done the best that you can do. And they've simply done it to themselves. So I think that that's, you know, good feedback, you guys. We can definitely talk to them on Monday, you know, if that offer, like, wants to renegotiate or anything. And Cassidy, success is the sweetest revenge. What might make you feel better is if you can make it through the hot water and still absolutely kick ass with the sale. Then you'll have a lot to be proud of. Absolutely. And as it sits with the investors you've talked to, if you have any sort of relationship with them, then maybe you can send them a note to apologize and hoping they will still do business with you in the future. Honestly, absolutely. And you guys know, like, we are so up on communication. These investors were getting, like, an every other day update, so I don't think any of them were really up in arms about it. But it was just, like, I felt as though it was starting to reflect really poorly on us. And just the days on market. Like, you guys know, John and I crush it with our listings. Even our hardest sales, sometimes, like, the most time on market's like 14 days. And here this thing's been on the market for, like, 2.5 weeks. I'm like, my days on market stats, you're crushing me. So I really appreciate you guys and your feedback. And with your support, I know I'm going to let it go. I get to keep working through it. I get to keep meditating on it. I get to keep yogaing on it and setting intentions. And I get to keep kicking ass and doing the absolute best that I can do because I know myself, and I'm not going to start doing any less just because they're not producing on their end, you know, in terms of communication. But I do really think that I get to connect with them, clear up the communication issues that we've been having. I think if things happen on Monday with this offer that we have on the table, it will be a good lesson for them to learn because it will, I guess, you know, like literally what I told them would happen will have come to fruition perfectly. So it won't be an I told you so moment, but it'll be a little bit of an I told you so moment. I don't know. We'll find out. But thank you guys. I so appreciate your feedback. I love all the love. Yeah, Cassidy, that's all I need. I just need more yoga, you guys. I've been doing really good at my habits, so feeling really good there. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I so appreciate all you guys like really carrying it through with me on this whole musing because there were a series of you that were on it the entire time. So thank you. I love you guys and keep crushing it. We'll get through it together. I'll talk to you soon.